So in the sense, people aren't buying necessarily just the product or the service. They really are buying you. They want to be a part of your journey. And if I could tell you anything about where we are in this day and age, there is a big bubble that popped in, I want to say October of last year. There was such a, I want to say influence in the past few years that people have noticed that you used to be able to make a quick sale with a quick buy because consumer behavior was totally different. People didn't need to trust you. They didn't need to know you in order to buy your product, but people don't do that anymore.
Welcome to Spill the Brand, where we brew the secrets for marketing your business, building your brand, and growing on social media. Grab your favorite cup of coffee, tea, or whatever's hot, and let's get brewing.
Y'all, welcome back to another episode of Spill the Brand. It is so amazing to have you here. I know we've only gotten to know each other within this third episode, but either way, we're starting to get to know each other for real. Before I get into this, the most amazing lesson that I have for you next, I want to talk about something real. One thing that's really changing for me is that you will start to see my background evolution and change because I'm actually moving. I'm moving away from San Francisco into the beautiful city of Las Vegas. And one of the things that I wanted to mention is change, moving on. Those are two of the biggest things that I feel like a lot of people are not scared of, but we build this fear inside of ourselves where it becomes different, uncomfortable, scary. And that's the reality of life, right? We find ourselves in these situations where it's almost very similar to brand. Changing, moving on is very similar to brand. You're like, Sam, okay, but let me tell you why. Branding is a journey. It requires you to be very vulnerable. It requires you to be the rawest version of yourself. In all honesty, just because of how much you have to shape the identity and really bring yourself out in it. It's the same thing when it comes to moving and when it comes to change. It's inevitable. Change is real. And so going through a brand shift, rebrand, starting over with a new business, all of this means something different and change-worthy. And so that's why I wanted to let y'all know that things are going to be changing here. As we start to grow and evolve together, as a good brand does, grow, evolve, and change, I will be changing too. My background, this will probably not be here last time. My very first time was different. I had realized I was filming on that desk and then I gave it away for free. So it wasn't quite the same setup for this week and it won't be the same week continuing. But that's a beautiful thing as we start growing together. Everything is going to change and change is inevitable. So that's the beautiful thing about when we start to build a brand, we start to watch it evolve. So I really want to get into this next lesson, which is all about how to define your unique value proposition, otherwise known as an offer statement or unique selling point. So let's get into it. One thing I really want y'all to take away is that we need to build you a brand that makes you the obvious choice. Having a unique value proposition or a USP, unique selling proposition, whatever it is, it needs to make you stand out. It needs to be the superpower, the thing that makes you the obvious choice. It's honestly the one thing that makes people choose you over the competition. And I want to be real with you. This is the thing that can make or break your brand, but it's all about making it unique and very, like, it's a self-expression. It's authentic to you and your business. I want you to think of your unique value proposition as something that is unique. It's authentic to you and your business. Think about Apple, for example. Apple's UVP is think different. It's very easy. It has evolved with the brand and it's unique because obviously with all of their technology, it makes you think different and do different things, right? Same thing applies with your business. Forgive me, I'm going to refer down because I do have some notes here for you because there's 3 important questions that I want you to ask and answer while you're thinking about your unique value proposition, which is 1, who do you serve? 2, what problem do you solve? And 3, how do you solve it differently? This is very touch points to the fact of the questions that I had y'all review in the sense of the who, what, why, how in your business. And we'll go even into more depth of that for sure, because those are the key things in your business. But in the sense of the who do you serve, what problem do you solve, and how do you solve it differently, those are things that you need to know. And honestly, I've talked to 6, 7, 8-figure business owners who sometimes even struggle with answering that question. It is one of those things that takes a little bit more work. You have to sit down, you have to do it, and you can't just have an assistant do it, okay? The question, who do you serve? Who is your dream client? Do you have that figured out? Because this kind of fits in the sense of what we did on the very first episode, second episode, talking about your homework that you needed to do to find your ideal client. And lastly, how I talked about the overall importance of your dream client. This is so important. And if y'all haven't done that homework yet, you better send it over to me so that I can look at it and give you some feedback. More so because I shared the last episode about who my dream client was. Her name is Jillian. She's very unique to me, and it works because I know her like the back of my hand. And whenever I think about my business, the content that I need to generate, the marketing that I need to create, I think about her. What does she need from me today? This is really thinking about that person, living and embodying them when it comes to building your brand. Because really, at the end of the day, everything that you make, content, marketing, any of your materials, it's not for you. Should I say that again? Anything that you make for content, marketing, any of your materials, it's not for you. And that's where I see so many business owners get stuck because they're like, oh, I'm burnt out. Oh, I do this so much for my brand, this, because they're getting burnt out because they're doing it for them. They're forgetting about the person that they're trying to reach. And that is what I need to absolutely ingrain in your brain, because the person that you're talking to, your ideal clients, your dream client, your avatar, the who do you serve is one of the most important things that you need to reference over time. Because again, your whole business, you made it for a reason, but at the end of the day, are you creating for you or are you creating for them? Because they're the whole reason that you are here. The second question that I want you to think about is, what problem do you solve? So in the sense, people aren't buying necessarily just the product or the service. They really are buying you. They want to be a part of your journey. And if I could tell you anything about where we are in this day and age, currently right now it is February 2025. There is a big bubble that popped in, I want to say October of last year. There was such a, I want to say influence in the past few years that people have noticed that you used to be able to make a quick sale with a quick buy because consumer behavior was totally different. People didn't need to trust you. They didn't need to know you in order to buy your product, but people don't do that anymore. The bubble popped, truly. And it changed because people got so misled, they got screwed over, and they bought the wrong things. So now it's like taking us much longer to build trust with our audience. We have to show much more of ourselves. And that's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean you have to go and tell all of your secrets, right? That doesn't mean you have to go spill the tea on everything that you have. But it does mean that you need to be vulnerable with your audience in some way, shape, and form, whether that be taking them along the process of moving, right? Like, that's vulnerable, but I don't have to share where. I'm not going to give you my address or my social security number, but I am going to be honest with the fact that I'm moving, I'm changing and evolving. So that may affect how I'm sitting here, but that's just being real. And so how can y'all do the same thing, right? When we think about the problems that you're solving, if you're buying the solution, right? If we're buying the solution, then that means we have to show up real. We have to show up in a way that brings people in. So when you're talking about with your audience about the problem that they're having, this means getting real with them, right? And so that's where building the personal rapport is, building the brand, being personal, because that is the almost step 1A of this, right? The step 2A of this is thinking about how you are being relatable, but then also telling them how to solve this problem. If you have not read Alex Hormozi's $100 million Leads and $100 million Offer, please do. Those are two books that I highly recommend based off the fact that he talks about simply that a lot of this time when we're building a business, it is all free value, and it will continue to be free value for a very long time until the fact that the real value that's behind the scenes, we just go into more depth. At the end of the day, you can give value, but are they going to know how to apply it without you? Maybe not. So when it gets down to the nitty-gritty of the problem that you're solving and that they need help with, are you giving them the roadmap? Are you telling them how to solve it? Are you giving them all of the keys to the city, per se? that is where we're drawing in real clients. That's where we're coming in with a realness perspective, right? So I'm showing you my authentic self by including you in the move, but then also in my content, you're seeing how I'm going to also help you, because just because I'm living my personal life doesn't mean I can't help you solve your problems. It's almost like part A and part B, where you just have to think about how it is that you're really divulging yourself and helping people, because at the end of the day, like I said, it's about them. I want you to think about this third question very uniquely, because how do you solve it differently? What makes your brand the obvious choice? This is a question that I really want you to sit in and think on, because not everything about your process is a copy and paste from everyone else in your industry, right? You obviously do things differently and have gotten clients for a reason, but are you showcasing that? I need you to sit on that for a second, because this is where you're not just another fitness coach, a brand designer, or an esthetician. You're not just an every other person. You're you. So this is where your whole brand needs you in it, and how you can start sharing more about you. And that's showing how you're doing it differently. Do you have a signature framework? Do you have a signature program? Do you have a unique way to approach things? Because at the end of the day, that's going to be the thing that is going to draw those people in. I mentioned how consumer behavior has changed. This is exactly the reason why you need to do it a little bit differently. One, because the market is always saturated in the sense that so many people are creating content nowadays. So many people are building a brand. But the thing is that how are you doing it differently? What makes you unique? What makes you the obvious choice? And I'm going to keep asking you that question throughout this whole entire episode. I mentioned before about Tesla, right? This is one example that I like to use as far as where branding comes in, right? Because Tesla, they started a company, founded a company, but then the company ultimately went bankrupt because nobody really wanted to test out the car. So once they introduced the leasing option, it really saved their business. This is the same thing about you. You have to sell the thing that's new in a new, unique way. You have to approach it much more differently, in the sense that not everybody's going to know about it. So it is going to take some time to sell yourself, build a brand, do the thing differently. But that's what's going to make you stand out. That's what's going to make you the obvious choice. And ultimately, when you have a unique value proposition, and when you carry it out by answering these 3 questions, it's how you're going to change the game for your audience. And it's how you're going to problem solve, show up authentically, and even just make a difference in your industry. I have 3 examples of which I think are good, unique value propositions from bigger brands that might spark something in you. Let's see. I mentioned Apple in the sense that their UVP is think different. That is so easy, because they're not just saying we sell computers, or they're saying that their technology makes you think different. It does things differently. It stands out, right? Nike is another one, but it's obviously a very basic example, but their slogan, "Just Do It," is literally more than just a shoe, right? It literally talks about empowerment. One of their recent commercials over the Super Bowl in February 2025, they basically talked about how female empowerment, still going to women's games. Like, they had not created a new Nike ad in years. And so this "Just Do It" thing, their slogan, their unique value proposition, that made it different. That made it unique, because it was more than just the slogan itself. It was the story. It was the message, right? So that also makes them unique. The last one that I can really think of is Uber. And this is one that I kept note of for you guys, because their UVP is the smartest way to get around. And so, I mean, they had to start out in the sense of, oh, you're going to get into some stranger's car. Well, what's that different than a taxi, right? But this is where it's like, it could be more than employment. It could be more than a taxi car. It was just regular people every day trying to get to work, to and from, and it made them unique. And their whole process of building the company was unique in itself too. Simply, Uber, in 5 words, they give you kind of a better way to know that you should hop in their car rather than getting a cab. Now, you honestly do not need a 3-word tagline or something catchy, or to think of a jingle of early 2000s slogans, right? You just need to be clear, and you need to be specific for your audience well enough for them to get to know you and to want to get to know you. That's a big key here. You need to answer the questions of who do you help, the problem you solve, and why you do it better than anyone else. All right, now I want you to try. Let's think about how you can craft this and how we can do it together. So what is going to be your unique value proposition? These questions, again, are going to be your homework, but things I really want you to take away. So what do? Not just I sell candles. What problems do your candles solve? It's a very basic example of this, but I'm not just a coach. What kind of coach am I? I'm not just a fitness coach. What kind of fitness coach am I? Be specific in the sense of, who is your audience? Do you have a niche? Can you be specific enough to call them in? Simply, I want to know, what is it that you do? A really good example of this is one of my friends who is a fitness coach, and she says, I help my girls lose weight permanently. Target audience is women. The offer, the unique value proposition there is that she helps them lose weight permanently, right? That's very clear and simple. So what's yours? What is something that's very easy and simple for your audience to know about you? The second question is in tandem almost with that first question, because it's, who do you do it for? In that first offer that I was telling you about, my friend I help my girls lose weight permanently, right? My girls is women, right? So you have to think about, are you targeting busy professionals, stay-at-home moms, busy entrepreneurs, everyday coaches, the people who are 9 to 5? Is that specific? Are you talking about them in your offer or your value statement or value proposition? This all needs to be there, just because then the people who are going to find you are going to be automatically drawn to you. But then also other people outside of that scope will still also come to you. One of the biggest things that I hear people say is, oh my gosh, I'm so concerned. If I niche down, will that exclude other people? It won't. I promise it won't. The thing is that you do have to be specific for a good period of time to get brand recognition and get known, because the more that you grow that small group of people who know who you are because you are specific, those people tell other people tell other people, and then it's just kind of like a chain reaction, right? A domino effect, where ultimately more and more people know about you all over the world, all over the country, all over your city, whatever you want to be. And so you just have to keep doing that same exact thing and letting people know who you're talking to and how you're going to help them. The third and final thing that I want you to do is answer, why are you different? I mentioned this, I really drilled into you on this one, but seriously, do you hand pour them? Like, what do you do? Are they toxin free? Do you burn them twice as long? And this is just me referring to the candles examples, but I want you to be specific of, like, seriously, what makes you different? For me, as I've been saying that question of, you need to build a brand that makes you the obvious choice, that's my unique value proposition. Did I blow your mind right there? Probably not. But in the sense of, I keep asking you that question because that is mine. So what is yours, and how are you going to do it differently? Because if I help you become the brand that makes you the obvious choice, what are you going to help me do? What are you going to help your audience with? I don't know what it is now, but you will find out later. And this homework is definitely going to help you with that. To close out this episode, I need you to do this homework. Message me if you have any questions. @Sam the Branding Coach on Instagram is the fastest way to get a hold of me. But y'all, this is going to be the thing that is going to change the game for how you are going to attract those dream clients, those high value clients, those high ticket clients, the ones who are really going to make a difference in your business and in your brand. So you have your homework. You have the 3 questions that you need to answer. And if you have any questions, I'm always here for you. The point is that, like I said, building a brand is a very vulnerable process, but it takes diving into it the way that we are together in a very unique way to do it right and to draw in the right people, right? Your brand is only as strong as you help people understand it. Why are you the obvious choice? I just want you to sit on that. I just want you to think on it and just take some time with it, okay? So I'm here for you if you need me, I promise. @Sam the Branding Coach, or you can email me at Samantha@polariscreatives.com. Soon enough, there will be a new email for y'all, and probably soon an Instagram page. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in to Spill the Brand, and I cannot wait to spill more of the brand on our next episode. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to Spill the Brand. Keep brewing your creativity and strategy until our next coffee date. See you then.